What is up everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're doing a deep dive into SUI, one of the fastest rising cryptos of the entire year. We're going to be breaking everything down from what SUI is, to its team, to new updates in 2024, and even key buying and selling areas. So let's start off with what actually is SUI. Well, SUI is a next-gen layer 1 blockchain built to solve the biggest issues plaguing the current blockchains, which are scalability and high costs. But what makes SUI stand out is its horizontal scaling, meaning it can process thousands of transactions in parallel without slowing down, unlike many other networks. The more people use it, it becomes faster, not slower. But it isn't just about speed. SUI is actually designed for developers, offering a flexible, user-friendly environment to build dApps, DeFi, and even more. Whether it's gaming, NFTs, or complex financial tools, SUI's architecture can handle it all, making it super versatile for both developers and businesses looking to go mainstream with blockchain tech. Now, who's the team behind SUI? Well, SUI was developed by a company called Miston Labs, a team made up of ex-Meta engineers who previously worked on Facebook's DIEM project. And these guys know their stuff. The team was led by somebody called Ivan Cheng and Sam Blackshear, who both have serious expertise in blockchain and distributed systems, and they're not just creating hype, they're building real solutions. With strong partnerships across both the crypto space and traditional tech, SUI's team is laser focused on expanding its ecosystem. These aren't just tech visionaries, they're actual execution experts, and that's why SUI is gaining some serious traction. Now let's jump into some of the updates happening in 2024 with SUI. Well, SUI has been rolling out programmable NFTs and dynamic smart contracts, opening up endless possibilities in gaming, collectibles, and more. Imagine NFTs that evolve or interact based on what you do with them. SUI makes that possible. They've also introduced SUI Move, a brand new smart contract language that's both safer and more efficient than the existing options. This means developers can create smarter, more secure apps with fewer bugs. And thanks to parallel execution, SUI continues to boast ultra-fast and super low-cost transactions, even as more people use the network. With these updates, SUI is positioning itself to lead the charge in blockchain adoption, and its focus on performance and ease of use is drawing in tons of new developers. Now let's take a look at the tokenomics. Well, the native token is of course SUI, and it powers the entire network. You can use SUI for absolutely everything, from paying fees to staking to governance and more. There's a total supply of roughly 10 billion SUI tokens, with around 6.14 billion currently in circulation. While some critics have raised concerns about early investors holding a large portion of the supply, SUI is working to decentralize the network further, particularly through its staking model. You can stake your SUI tokens to help secure the network and earn rewards, adding a great layer of utility for long-term holders. With staking and governance improvements, SUI is pushing towards a more decentralized and community-driven future. Now its market cap. Where does SUI actually stand right now? So SUI is currently trading at roughly $2.22, again with a market cap of 6.14 billion, but it is still very early days for the project. SUI's focus on scaling and user-friendly solutions have helped them to land key partnerships in the gaming and DeFi spaces, and with their innovative technology and ecosystem expansion, they're drawing in even more developers. SUI's unique tech and scalability could make it one of the biggest layer 1 blockchains in the market, with a ton of room to grow in 2024 and the coming years. Now let's go into the interesting stuff on the charts and see where SUI can actually be going and where we should be buying and selling. So SUI is actually in a very interesting place in the market. You can see here it's actually at a new all-time high, whereas all other cryptos are actually quite far away from the all-time high. Now obviously with huge growth comes huge downtrends, as we've seen previously on SUI, where it pumped from lows of 36 cents to an all-time high of $2.18, and then it did practically the same move down back to 50 cents or 46 cents to be exact, and now it's done the same move back up. So one key thing to remember in crypto is usually things as fast as they come up will come down also just as quick. So even though SUI is at an all-time high right now with extreme buying pressure, I do think we will start to see some sort of a downtrend back to a few support levels, just as this growth is not easy to maintain and it's actually never been done before. We can't continue spiking up like this until like $10-20. Now another key thing to remember is also SUI's open interest is starting to decline a bit, meaning that more and more traders are closing their positions on SUI, so they are taking profits. And it also means that more traders are thinking that the SUI growth is going to start to slow down relatively soon. So obviously with that happening, we should see a bit of a fall also. Now, where could we fall to? Well, I'm using the Fibonacci here from, the previous all-time high to the low, so we can essentially go off of that and previous support levels as well. Now, one key level that stands out to me is this area right here. It's 0.618 level on the Fibonacci. Now, the reason this level stands out to me is because previously we used it nearly as a support and almost as a resistance level, and then here you can see we actually tested it as a support on this daily candle right here. Now, the reason I'm not looking at the 0.786 area, even though we did test it here once, is that there was no real previous any sort of shift from this area. We did see a slight shift here, but that was obviously before the all-time high. So I'd essentially be looking for us to come down right around to this area before we start looking for any sort of buys. Now, this is another key great area right here at roughly $1.05 to $1.13. However, it is obviously, nearly 50% down from where it's at right now. And although that could happen, it's much more difficult than, the $1.50 mark right here. So essentially what I'd be looking for is a first buy order roughly at this area right here. I'll actually mark it on with a green box. So this would be our first buy area. Now, what I like to do is have multiple buy orders to dollar cost average in on my cryptos. So essentially that allows us to get the best average price, and it minimizes risk and maximizes profitability. So we'd then be looking at a second buy order probably at this area right here, and the third buy order at this area right here. Now, with 3 buy orders, we'd be looking to have the smallest, chunk invested right here, a medium-sized chunk invested right here, and the largest chunk invested right here. The lower it goes, the more you want to buy, but obviously if you have, capped capital, then make sure to do your maths and ensure that you can save the biggest chunk for last, and obviously have a bigger chunk in the second DCA than you did in the first DCA. So these are average buy areas, but if SUI does see another sort of V-shaped reversal back down, then obviously the previous downtrend was to 35 cents, then it was to 50 or 45 cents. So each time it is obviously still maintaining a higher low. So the next possible real low could be roughly, I'd say, at 77 cents, somewhere right here. And obviously if that happens, then hopefully you will have saved enough for a final and fourth dollar cost average in entry. Obviously this is a very bearish case scenario. There would have to be some sort of negative catalyst and also just a lot of selling pressure for SUI. Now let's flip this around and check out some selling areas for after when we have bought in. Now obviously we can use the Fibonacci to find price discovery areas. So essentially the first real area we have on the Fibonacci, if we avoid the $3.20 because that's like a 50% move from where we are right now, would be at nearly $5. Now this seems like a decent first area to sell, especially if our first entry is at $1.50. That is just over a 3x from the initial dollar cost average in, and obviously if we do manage to get a much lower entry, it's roughly a 5x away from that area. So that's our first entry, our first selling area. Now our second selling area would be at $7.70. Now I like to have my selling orders similar to my buying orders. I usually will have multiple sells. My first sell would be quite a pessimistic target, like $5 here for SUI, which is only 100% away from where it's at right now. Then my second price target is slightly more optimistic, and my final price target is super optimistic. That way, the first price target is usually always hit, the second price target will sometimes get hit, and the third price target, even though it might very, very rarely get hit, if it does get hit, then that will be huge profits. Now, after the first price target, I will usually take out a majority of the position, second price target, another large chunk of the position, and the final price target would be a small part of the position, but because it's such an optimistic target, it is still a large amount of money. So the final price target I'd place for SUI is not going to be on the Fibonacci. It's more of a mental node of roughly $20, so a 10x from where it's at right now. And obviously that might not hit, and that is perfectly fine because we have these two price targets right here, which, you know, with $5 should get easily hit. $7.70 slightly more difficult, but again should hit regardless, especially if the market does go into, you know, a bullish phase during 2025, then that should get easily hit. And then the $20, if there is some major catalyst, then obviously that will get hit also, and our profits will be large. Now that is it for SUI. If you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to be getting trades every single day, then check out the Discord down below because we have some insane trades being posted in there every single day, and we also post some low cap gems. Now if you need a place to buy, sell or trade SUI, check out the exchanges we're working with also. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow. Like and subscribe. Goodbye guys.